break it down to no meat left. Line upon line in the word, make you respect. History collegiate, when we teach it, brains reset. You listening to precept on precept. Captain Shim, break it down to no meat left. Line upon line, the word make you respect. History collegiate, when we teach it, brains reset. Putting in the work for the most high. Valley of the bones coming back and we gon' ride. Showing you our past didn't start with that boat ride. We a nation made of kings, yeah, we chose right. Bringing our identity back. We the praise of the Lord, they pretend to be that. Truly is something special, they can never be that. We raise the vengeance with the knowledge so our enemies crack. In fact, listen to the class ain't a topic. Bomb subject matter, breakdowns atomic. Gathering the people, the whole duty of prophets. Precepts start flowing.
Israel united in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a non-violent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1.
Shalom, 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 Israel. Hey, Most High in Christ bless. Hey, welcome to Thursday night, another edition of Precept upon Precept. We are your hosts. I'm Captain Sherman. To the table to my left,
Officer Matthew.
Officer Mikael.
All right, all praises to the Most High. Hey, show that graphic real quick. I thought Officer Mikael did a bomb job doing that. Show that graphic because it kind of it segues right into the show. So when you look to your left, you see Vladimir Putin, who is the president of Russia. If you look to the right, you see a sleepy old Caucasian, Joe Biden, the president of the United States. And you see in the middle, there is a flag of, help me out, Mikhail, Ukraine. So it's a clever, and tonight, wars and rumors of wars is exactly what we're going to get into. So you saw Officer Matt and the crew last week went into the second part with Kazakhstan. The week before, we covered Kazakhstan. I'm going to get it wrong every single time. Today, we're going to focus on what is going on in the Ukraine. It's been bubbling and boiling up for the last couple of decades, but right now we are in the point of damn near war. Why? What is going on, and what's so special about the Ukraine that NATO, the alleged alliance of NATO and Russia, are at odds? Let's play the video. This video, y'all, is going to give us a backdrop, a little bit of history about Ukraine and the inner turmoils within, and we're going to break it down. If we could play that, we don't have to timestamp anything. Stay with us, y'all. All right, while we wait, y'all track real time. You Google this, you'll find out this stuff is going on right now, and it's changing hour by hour, day by day, hour by hour. We are living in the last days. So let's check this out.
This is Eastern Ukraine. Conflict broke out here in 2014, and it hasn't ended. There are about 100,000 fighters stationed here, which makes it one of the most heavily militarized areas on Earth. There are Ukrainian forces to the west and Russia-backed separatist militias to the east. Fighting between the two groups occurs here, along the contact line. In 2015, after nearly a year of deadly fighting, a peace agreement called for a ceasefire, creating this security zone. The agreement was supposed to stop the fighting and resolve the conflict between Ukraine and the separatists. But 3 years later, the security zone remains the most violent place in Ukraine. The ceasefire is violated almost every single day in East Ukraine, which reportedly puts about 100,000 civilians in constant danger. Over 10,000 people have died since the conflict in Ukraine began, and about 1.5 million have been displaced.
Okay, pause real quick. So I wanted to start there. Let me sit up. I wanted to start there because there has been an inner conflict in the Ukraine, right? So let's look at the map of the Ukraine, because it's something we covered the last 2 weeks, Kazakhstan. And we showed you that Russia was the border to the north. Let's look at a map of the Ukraine, and let's try to think in the spirit, why are they having inner conflict when they got independence from the Soviet Union not too long ago? Wonder why these inner conflicts are going on. Let's take a look at that map right quick. All praises. So look, real quick, let's get a scripture while we wait for our brothers on the tech team. Let's get the book of, oh gosh, what's the scripture in Psalms with no, it'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. We'll get that in a minute. Let's get that map. So keep in mind that we just saw that in the Ukraine that there is political and civil unrest. If we look at the map, you'll find, I want you to really pay attention, there's two bodies of water. To the south of the Ukraine, you have the Black Sea. To the also to the south, that borders both Russia and the Ukraine, there is the Sea of Azov, or Azov. Then there are multiple bodies of water, rivers, that dump from the Ukraine into those seas. Now, if we can we get a map of southern Russia? Because I want to show the relationship between the Ukraine, Russia, and Kazakhstan. And we are not going to get this done in one night, y'all. We have about 16 articles. The brothers have researched this for the last 4 or 5 days. So y'all bear with us. Y'all follow along. Y'all follow along what's going on in the news yourself. Okay? There's a reason why the Lord is allowing all of these things to happen as we speak. All praises. Check this out, y'all. Follow along. That's a good one. All right, so now. So I don't see, where the hell's Ukraine? Okay, I'm looking at the wrong one. Okay.
Like the light purple color.
This might be okay, all right. It'll work. Okay, so we're gonna get another map. The one I looked at was different. So when we look at Russia's a huge country. When we look at that Black Sea to the left, if we all look together to our left of the screen, if we look at the clock, it's your 9 o'clock. The Ukraine is literally to the far western border. But you have the Black Sea, and you have that other Sea of Azov. Look at Kazakhstan. Look at, Officer Matt, you mentioned last week or the week before about that game.
Yeah.
Please do share that, what you said, because I like the way you put that.
It's a strategy game, sort of like chess. It's called Go. All right. The object of the game of Go is to surround your enemy. If you can completely surround your enemy, you won the game. If they have a little way out, you didn't win, and they can actually come back and re-surround you. But the entire point of the game of Go, and it's G-O exclamation point. The entire point of that game is for you to surround your enemy so they can't move. In chess, in checkers, in chess, you got to trap the king. You can do that from afar. That's kind of like what the U.S. does, randomly. We got you here, we got you over there, so you better not try nothing. In Go, you are literally surrounded. Everywhere you turn is your opposition, and that's exactly what's happening there.
Hey, can we pull that map back up real quick? Pull that map back up. Now, if you look at the two most recent countries that have been having turmoil, you got Kazakhstan and the Ukraine. That is literally boxing Russia in. Where can Russia go at that point?
Hey, look, I'm going to let y'all know something. I know people that was stationed in Korea, so we got military bases there.
Yes.
Mongolia, I was fighting alongside of Mongolian troops in Iraq.
So and they was part of NATO.
Yes,
Wow.
they're an ally of the U.S. Turkish forces are part of the U.S.
Speaking of Turkey,
the NATO. Polish, I was in Iraq with Polish people. They're part of that. I was there with Romanians.
Right.
They're part of that. Look at the surrounding countries.
That's a good point. Later on, remind us that you're going to find that some of the groups in the NATO alliance are leave that map if you would, please. Tech team. Some of the groups that we're going to show, well, the countries part of the group called NATO. Poland is a recent addition, right? Romania is an addition. I want to confirm Mongolia because I did not know that. I did not see
Mongolia is there. I was on. We used to call them one shot, one kill. They try to get up on that gate and a Mongolian shoot at you. They ain't shooting much. They one shot and you got.
So let's look. So if that is the case, because Kazakhstan, with right now the U.S. is behind. I don't give a damn. We know that the U.S. is behind that. You got Mongolia. You've got the North Korea. We have bases in South Korea, and there's a Marine Corps base in doggone Okinawa.
Yep.
So we got bases. Now, how many Japanese bases they got in the U.S.?
Zero.
This is how you know. Give me that the whore that sits on many waters, because I'm gonna show. This is listen, y'all. So we have a show planned, but it's just going. The Spirit going to take us. I want y'all to understand something. This is why we, as the 12 tribes of Israel, have to decide in these last days to get our minds right. You are living in prophetic times. These are the last days when you hear wars and rumors of wars. The Bible is a living, true book. That is a history book, and it also is a prophetic book that we're seeing prophecies start to come to pass even as we move forward. Y'all in the right place. Do not let no weak, simple brothers and sisters take you out this truth. Don't do it. Revelation, we can start at 17, I think, verse 1, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's go ahead and check this out, y'all. Come on.
The book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore.
So the judgment of the great whore. Does that mean that there's one super hoe out there that had 500 dudes that she had sex with, and so that the super hoe is going to be judged? Is that what it means? Or is that talking about a nation that is used this? That's what whores are known for: lying, deceit, and trickery, right? That's what this country does. So the judgment of the great whore, read.
I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
So the Bible is use similitudes and allegories and parables. Because you got to figure, a great whore, let's say it's a big fat hoe, right? If she can't sit in water, because she'll sink. It's not any woman would sink in water. It's talking about a country, and they're going to be judged based upon the things that they do, right? Because if you take it literally, and you can imagine someone like Rasputia, or some of them, one of them big brother sisters, or one of them a skinny hoe that laid with, there was, your call, give me the article real quick. Your call put something up today. I got to get it. Your call put an article up on Telegram about a woman that she had 370. You see that one on Telegram? This is a great whore. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to show you a little, a Emmy-winning whore. Can I say that? I hope so. I got just, we had to go there. Your call, all praise the officer, your call. All praise that brother put it up there. So this is an example of a literal great whore. And she ain't a regular whore. She not a good whore. This is a great whore we about to show you. You got that?
She sat upon many waters, Cap.
Many waters.
Many waters.
Oh yes. I sidetracked
Might be
it.
some muddy waters in there too.
Man, hey, listen. While we get that, let's see here. Get verse 4. We're gonna read verse 4 while we wait.
Revelation chapter 17 and verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color.
Purple and scarlet color are not colors of paupers. They're colors of rich men. Okay? This means that she's decked out in riches. Read on.
And decked with gold and precious stones and pearls.
Now they come back and say, this is a rich nation. Read on.
Having a golden cup in her hand.
So that golden cup represents what? Rulership. And what is filled with that cup? Read on.
Full of abominations.
Meaning same-sex agenda. Where did it start? Did it start in Kazakhstan? Did it start in Kuwait? It started right here in the United States of America. Read on.
And filthiness of her fornication.
And what is that filthiness of her fornication? All of the wicked sexual sins and all of the other spiritual fornication. This place is filled with nothing but evil and wickedness. And guess what? Wherever America goes, their policies follow. I knew dudes that fought in the Gulf War #1, and before that crap happened, I think it was like early 90s, there was no Christmas or strip clubs over there. Now they got all that over there. We got soldiers, Officer Mike and Matthew was over there. They saw all that crap. I knew Marines that saw that crap. It was never there before. In Afghanistan, but we was there for 20-something years. Then they leave. There was not one woman in pants. Now half the women got pants on after they leave. Go figure. That's what America brings to the table. Abominations of whoredom. Okay? You got that? Oh, it is? Just post a screenshot. That's all. Beautiful, beautiful. So we're going to show you literally, it's because it's comical. Y'all going to get a laugh out of it. We're going to get you a laugh. So shout out to Officer Code. So this right here is today, is it the New York Times or something like that? Anyways. Right. I'm just trying. It might be the New York Post. Okay, latest Nigerian news. Well, anyways. So this is a super whore. This is a great whore. Literally. I've had sex with 370 men. Lost my virginity at 13, gave birth to 14, 40 lovers by 19, sex 5 times a day. That is a great whore. Right? 370 men. Now, the Bible's talking about the great whore is being Babylon the Great, meaning the United States of America. So now, I think we lost the comical relief. Hopefully some of y'all got to laugh at home about it. But anyway,
we ain't lose it. A lot of females is at home like, just 370?
Damn! 370, damn. Wow.
They got a lot of stuff going on out here nowadays, Cap. They got a lot of stuff going on nowadays.
I tell you what, look, so we're going to put that map up because to show you that with the many waters is talking about military strength. Because when you look at that map, Officer Thomas, when we pulled it out, let's just look at the waters surrounding that. We have military bases in Germany. If you look at the very top left,
yep.
We have military bases in Korea, South Korea,
yep.
In the Japan, which is the Sea of Japan. We have military bases now in the Kuwait, which is near Iran and Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
We have military bases, which they say we in Israel. And there's other places that we have that I'm not even sure of.
A couple of the stands.
Okay.
A couple of the stands, the Uzbekistan. I know we was over there. The Lithuania. What we got? Czechoslovakia. They had Czechoslovakians over there with us in Iraq too.
Yes. So the point, what we're showing you is that the U.S. is, and the United States is the complete opposite side of the earth. But yet, how do they have bases in their naval bases as well as air superiority as well, all around Russia?
Hey, Cap.
Yes, sir.
The one thing we forgetting, if you look in that top corner of the map where We actually can't see it right now because of the picture-in-picture. But in that top corner of the map is the Bering Sea.
That's right.
You know what's on the other side of the Bering Sea?
The Alaska.
Alaska.
Right.
So Russia is completely surrounded.
And that's heavy when y'all go to the history of, think about it. Why does not Alaska belong to Canada? You ever ask yourself, why is Alaska part of the United States when it's directly landlocked with the country of Canada? You ever wonder that? Because this is Babylon the Great, the whore that sits on many waters. Why is not Hawaii attached to Japan or one of those Asian countries? The U.S. is that Babylon that sits on many waters, that great. That's who it's talking about. So now let's go back to the map. We got to get into it. We're running behind. So real quick, there was one other thing. I wanted to pull up NATO article, and then you brothers, let's get into it. I know you have a lot of good stuff. Let's pull up the definition of NATO. If it's easier just to go right to Wikipedia.
The Wikipedia NATO, EU, NATO relations. It's at the bottom. I just posted it. Told y'all. Yeah, so it's one of the last 2 articles that's posted.
Hey, shout out to the tech team. They put together a synchronized chronological article order. We went overboard, but we getting our structure together. So we are going to show the definition of NATO because NATO is key along with the EU in understanding why there is even talks of interfering with Russian occupancy of the Ukraine from the NATO forces.
All right, European Union, NATO relations. The European Union, EO, and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, are 2 main treaty-based Western organizations for cooperation between member states, both headquartered in Brussels, Belgium.
Hold up. I got to stop you right there. Is that not a contradiction? I thought Europe was in the East. How is it a Western organization?
Right, exactly.
I thought Europe was.
Well, when the West controls you, it's Western.
Right, and you see how they do that, though. Brussels, I've been to Brussels, Belgium. Brussels is a big city. Belgium is a small little country. Mm-hmm. They ain't got no damn power. But the U.S. will put a front run, just like they used to have a company called, we covered 2 years ago on the show, the United Fruit Company, and the station was out of Boston. And no damn bananas grow in Boston. We brought that out before, too. This goes to show you that the United States is controlling everything. So it's a great point. It is absolutely a contradiction, 100%.
Their natures are different, and they cooperate in different spheres. NATO is a purely intergovernmental organization functioning as a military alliance whose primary task is to implement Article 5 in the North Atlantic Treaty on collective territorial defense.
Stop right there. So it is a military organization backed, let's put it plain, by the U.S., and the U.S. sits in the driver's seat. So if you attack one of us, so the U.S., once they make the alignments in NATO and they make everyone think that we're all working together, if that's an extension of the United States of America. Mm-hmm. So if you touch them, the U.S. got carte blanche to go screw with you. That's exactly what's going on. Now, read that last part again.
NATO is a purely intergovernmental organization. Turn off the picture-in-picture. Turn off, yes. NATO is a purely intergovernmental organization functioning as a military alliance whose primary task is to implement Article 5 in the North Atlantic Treaty on collective territorial defense.
Collective territorial defense. Let's think about that word, territorial defense. Well, if you now can expand your territory to include the Ukraine, what did you just do? You just created more territory that you're going to defend if they don't have the same interests as you. Vladimir Putin's like, hold up. The Soviet Union was dissolved in the early 1990s. Now you got Poland. Now you got Romania. You're getting closer and closer to Russia. Putin's not stupid, and Russia's not a chump. And guess what's landlocked to Russia? China. The Lord using all of this. Y'all got to see it for what it is. And if you think the United States is not involved in Kazakhstan and not involved what's going on in the political unrest and the civil disorder in the Ukraine, you're crazy. It's a chess move to gain more territory so you can flex on them. And guess what? When you get that, you can set up a NATO base there. Who the hell you think going to fund that NATO base? And what kind of – does not the Air Force of the United States and all these other countries, now they can set shop up. This is a major, major military strategy right here. Let's read on.
The EU, on the other hand, is a partly supranational and partly intergovernmental sui generis entity akin to a confederation that entails wider economic and political integration.
So you have the NATO is a military enforcer, right? And then the EU is going to be your political and what is that? Economical, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they can fight on two fronts. One, we'll make you part of our territory. You mess with us, we defend you. Two, okay, we can deal. You don't want to deal with us? We can sanction you. We can embargo you. We can alienate you from certain technological transactions of banking institutions, like the SWIFT organization. These guys are, the U.S. is the biggest gangster. That's why they call it a great whore, okay, filled with abominations. And guess what? They're brothers. Esau, Putin and them, they're brothers. But guess what? The Lord going to use them brothers, okay? In the interest of time, because I don't want to, unless you brothers want to bring more about that Wikipedia, please do.
No, just I wanted to just finish out that paragraph because there's a little portion right there that, unlike NATO, the EU pursues a foreign policy in its own right based on consensus, and member states have equipped it with tools in the field of defense and crisis management, the common security and defense policy structure. So they have their own set of rules. They have their own set of laws. And anybody that's a member, they got backing behind them.
So there's always been a saying, you can't go to war unless your money right.
Mm-hmm.
The EU is the money. NATO is the war.
Yep.
That's the EU funds NATO, and NATO goes and wrecks shop.
And I want you to see something. Go to the Wikipedia real quick. Scroll down. I want you to look at the right hand of the screen where it says European Union, NATO relations. Now the EU is in green and NATO is in orange. Why the hell is the whole United States orange? The whole North America, Canada, the U.S., Alaska, is that Greenland or Iceland? Greenland. So they got Greenland, Canada, Alaska, and the whole U.S. over there with that big old block right there. It looks like Turkey. Looks like Turkey. While everything else is, EU over there in Europe. But the whole NATO is the United States.
Hey, real quick, see if you can Google, just real quick, it came to me. The most recent additions to NATO, because that is important to know, because there's a reason why Vladimir Putin is paying so much attention to what's going on. One of them, I believe, is Poland and Romania. And if you looked at Russia's eastern border, it's not far at all. If we can pull that up. And I just want a list of the countries. And then after that, I want you to pull up our number 16. Number 16 on your list there. All right, okay. Check this out, y'all. Y'all bear with us. Yes, sir. Okay, so the most recent member states to be added to NATO are Montenegro on June 5th, 2017, North Macedonia, Bosnia, Georgia, and Ukraine. Oh, well, the Ukraine has not been, well, aspiring members. I see, aspiring members. Go back to, this is good, but I'm looking for, maybe go back to the 90s. I want to know, before 17, there was a bunch of countries that were added that Russia started to pay attention. And one of them was Poland, one of them was Romania. If you could find that. Yes,
hey,
sir.
Cap, you gonna bring that out about that, what the Edomite lady said?
It's,
About
yes.
the Ukraine?
Yes. That's a video. Real quick, while we wait for that, get me Job 9:24. I brought this out earlier. Sometimes the very basic scriptures are so true. You be on the street and you ask somebody, listen, what country makes the power moves? What country is in control of the earth? When we see that, like Officer Matthew just brought out, that NATO and the EU are the political, economic, and military bullies of the planet Earth. And at the helm of that ship, it's definitely not Canada. It damn sure ain't Poland. It's not France. It's everyone knows it. All right. Yes. Get Job 9:24 right quick.
the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24.
Read
The
on.
earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
So you got the United States of America, which is in the continent of North America. What the hell are they doing in Eurasia? What the hell are they doing? Why? Because they run the damn earth. Read it again.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
So they can go anywhere they want. It's their earth. The Lord gave it. The Most High allowed them to run the whole earth. And that's what's going to happen. That's why he's going to destroy them and bring them down. Romans 9. Okay? You got the 90s? I know I'm throwing you a curveball here. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So, remember the Cold War? Remember the whole Cold War thing. I remember when I was in elementary school, we used to have fire drills. This was back in the early 80s. That we were scared that Russia was going to attack us. And the alarm, quick, the teacher, get on your desk. We was really scared of that in the 80s and the 70s. Because remember, the whole Vietnam War, you think they was there for the Viet Cong? Look at Vietnam. Where is it? Ask a Vietnam vet about it.
Strategically
Crazy as hell.
on the border of China.
You damn right. I'm sorry. After the Cold War, in Germany, reunited in 1990. Remember the whole Berlin Wall, West Germany, East Germany, right? There was a debate in NATO about continued expansion eastward. That's the key to this. So back in 1990, there was a guy named Gorbachev. I think I said it right. He had the funny thing on this. Remember, Mickey, you 40-something.
Yeah.
We used to have the cartoons with Reagan and Gorbachev with the little thing.
Mikhail Gorbachev.
Yes. A little weird red thing on his head, right? It says in 1999, Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic joined NATO. So, if we could
Cap.
Yes, sir.
Finish that. You got to finish that sentence.
Amid much debate within the organization and Russian opposition.
There was a problem there.
Yes.
Russia saw that. Russia was like, whoa, what you doing with them over there? You don't need that.
Right.
Why
But
you in
look
my
here.
yard?
So now if we could pull that map back up, let's look at Poland, Hungary, and Czech Republic. And I think it's called a different name now.
No, it's it.
It's okay.
It's the Czech.
So let's pull that up
I
and
think
let's look
Czech
at.
Republic used to be a part of Yugoslavia, but when they broke up, it became Bosnia, Herzegovina, and then the other side was the Czech Republic.
All praises. Pull up the one where we can see Poland and Czechoslovakia, because on the map you're going to see that Russia was against it, and they began to encroach eastward towards Russia. And that's why it's amazing how Kazakhstan has all these problems now. Ukraine's got all these problems now. NATO to the rescue, sending your political puppets, cause a friggin' turmoil. Next thing you know, now we're part of NATO. It's amazing. Bullies of the earth. can't see nothing. All right, let's get on back. Let's get on back.
Poland, Cap.
Poland. Okay.
Now, well, if you look at it,
Yeah.
Belarus, right on side of Belarus is Russia. There you go, Ukraine.
Okay. Yes. So Poland is west of the Ukraine, but it's the Baltic Sea is to the north. Look at Germany. The Czech Republic is right below.
Yep.
So now you have, and they already have military bases in Germany. U.S. military. My brother was a French commando unit in U.S. Germany. He was stationed in Germany. He was a doc, medical personnel. Anyways, look at Poland. Now, is there a way that we can get a little bit out, like scroll back so we can see Poland in relation to Russia, the position? Maybe
Y'all gotta.
all praises. So what we getting y'all to see is that, damn, this thing is going too fast. Look, get that map. We're gonna come back to that. Do me a favor. Officer Matt, you had something. There was a video, or was it Mikael? You had something that you had. I don't know if this is the time to jump into it. We had a timestamp.
Article number 11.
Yes. If we can jump into that, then we'll come back to the map.
Number 11.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, a huge mechanized army is poised on Ukraine's borders, and the UK has decided to send these anti-tank missiles. So-called NLAW is the type of missile. I think we've got some footage developed by the Swedes and then jointly produced with the UK. It's been in service with the British Army for some years. You're talking about a shoulder-fired weapon there you can see being used on the training range with a range of several hundred meters. So it's not going to absolutely tilt any military balance of power. We don't know the exact quantities that will be sent, but it wouldn't be in the thousands probably. So
pause that. So this is why Putin is like, hey, hold on, man. Y'all can't come into the Ukraine. Y'all already in Poland. They got shoulder-fired. They got shoulder-fired rocket launchers to take out tanks. And they say that's just for defense. That's not for defense. That's a sign of aggression.
Yep.
That is aggression. That's what NATO does. That's why Putin's like, no, I don't want y'all in my backyard. Y'all too close.
Hey, was that you, Officer Matt? RT News #1, secret CIA program prepares Ukrainians to kill Russians. Was that, who put that up there? Because
No, but we can get into it, though.
NATO.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go down.
Because I'm interested to see the CIA.
Number one. Because what y'all gonna see, what y'all seeing right now, is that man of sin being revealed. Who's the wicked? Who's the whore that sits on many waters? Who's stirring all this stuff up? Who's gonna bring forth our going home? The United States of America is gonna bring forth our going home. So, hey, y'all got it yet? Y'all ready? Number one. Bring that up. It says, secret CIA program prepares Ukrainians to kill Russians. 5 former intelligence officers and U.S. national security officials have claimed that the CIA, the Alphabet Boys, is running an intensive training program for elite Ukrainian personnel and Special Operations Forces. This was posted on Yahoo.
So just in case people may not think, the U.S. is in all of those countries.
All of them.
They're in all of those countries. They have been for quite some time. We already know about the people that they send before they actually send a news-backed force into those countries. Just because the news ain't covering it doesn't mean that they're not there. They're there, and we know about it. That's why they're making the moves that they make. You can't make moves like that without sending an embassy, or without sending troops before you, or without sending ambassadors before you. The only way that you can make those moves, only way that the CIA can even have the ability to be there, is if people are there already.
And that's heavy. Go back to that article real quick, because when you think about it, it's not like if this was the first time. The CIA, the Alphabet Boys, they got history. Gaddafi, Noriega, who else? Saddam Hussein. All of these different places that used to work for the U.S. government, and now all of a sudden they end up dead. So there's a history of the CIA and the U.S. government using tactics like this. So it says 5 former intelligence officers and U.S. national security officers have claimed. So it says that 5, so they used to be intelligence officers, meaning to become a U.S. intelligence officer, you got to have a college degree. You got to go through regiment and military. You got to get screened. They go back to your second grade teacher and inquire about. These are supposed to be upright U.S. guys. So 5 of them and U.S. national security officials have claimed the CIA is. Why would they lie? Because it's the truth. And so that's what's going on, and a whole lot more. That's why there's political unrest in the Ukraine, because it's being infiltrated to cause division, to cause unrest and political turmoil. So what? So NATO can come in along with the EU, set up shop, and expand the U.S.'s territory. And with that, we get ready to come right back. We're going to go to a break. So with that, precept upon precept, hang in there. Stay with us. Shalom. Damn, IT. I'm holding it up like this.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
All right, welcome back to another edition of Precept Upon Precept, coming back from the break. Those of you just joining us, we're going over the tensions in the Ukraine and the rumors of war between who? The United States of America and its allies, a.k.a. NATO and the EU, and Russia. So let's get right back to it. I want to, if you could pull not number 12, I'm sorry, oh gosh, I just had it. It's the sanctioning of 15. Yes, sir. It's a Washington Post article. We're not going to read the whole thing. Y'all read the whole thing in your own. Because let's think about this. The Ukraine is not even a part of NATO or the EU. They're just an aspiring future player. So why is the EU under the power of the backing of the U.S. even concerned about the Ukraine if it's not part of them? Because they can do what their earth is given to them. Let's watch what they're thinking about doing. And by the way, there are sanctions right now on Russia by the U.S., by the way, but they're going to add more layers to it. Now watch this. We could pull that article up. Beautiful.
I got you, Cap.
Yes, sir.
House Republicans aim sanctions at Putin, his family, and his mistress.
See how they try to slaughter him, his mistress, right? We don't even know if that's true. So Josh Rogan, this guy. All right. Read.
The Biden administration's carefully crafted mix of diplomacy and threats of additional sanctions doesn't seem to be deterring Russian President Vladimir Putin from invading Ukraine and starting a war.
So that narrative is that he's invading. Well, they're really protecting that part. I'm not pro-Russia. I'm not pro-U.S. I'm pro-God. They're all a bunch of demons. But it says that invading Ukraine. So the narrative that it's painting is that Russia is the enemy. Well, that's like them coming to Mexico and the U.S. not being concerned. We wasn't concerned when they came to Cuba. Damn near Kennedy almost went to doggone war with World War III during that time. So you can understand why Putin is already concerned since NATO added Poland, the Czech Republic, and other countries that border that area. So, of course, like Officer Mikhail said, the Bering Strait separates the Isle from Alaska. They're boxed in. Kazakhstan and now the Ukraine, if you secure those in a NATO alliance, guess what you've done to Russia? Like Officer Matt said, it's go time. That's the game. They're playing chess. Read on.
Now, a large group of House Republicans is pushing President Biden to ramp up the pressure on Putin directly by going after him and his entourage for their long and well-established corruption.
So it's corruption that the Russians want to stand up for that part of the world, right?
Now it's corruption, Cap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like now it's corruption. They've been corrupt. Like y'all didn't kill leaders.
Right.
Like y'all didn't just kill a leader of Haiti like a while ago, like last year. Like y'all didn't murder Muammar Gaddafi. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like y'all don't go to Africa and just kill people for whatever y'all want.
Right.
But it's Russia's corruption that's the real threat to the world, right? Come on, man.
You're going to find out. Read.
On Tuesday, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said Russia could at any point launch an attack in Ukraine. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken visited Kyiv on Wednesday after he heads to Germany and then plans to meet Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in Geneva Friday. Blinken is offering Russia a diplomatic off-ramp while warning that the United States will impose harsh sanctions on Russia if there is a full-scale invasion.
Right. So now it also said in the beginning that they're going to add sanctions because they already were sanctioning Russia because Russia had a problem in the 90s when the West kept encroaching towards the Russian border. Real quick, if you could just very quickly in the background, find me, I know we're playing for something different, find me the dissolution or the dissolving of the Soviet Union. Just something very basic. Find that in the background. Let's go back to this real quick. We're gonna jump on this.
That seems like a reasonable mix of carrots and sticks, but Psaki's warning shows the science suggests it isn't working.
Let's scroll down real quick. There's something I wanted in here. Yes, here we go. Next article, next paragraph.
Scroll, put it down. Yeah, there, right there. Putin may calculate that sanctions on Russian banking or energy sectors might not have much effect. But one thing we do know, that Putin cares about his own illicit fortune. The U.S. government has never really tried to go after the people who launder Putin's alleged stolen billions and profit from his gangsterism.
Wow, see how they box him in? This guy is like Hitler. He's a terrible villain.
You know what I'm saying? They made Putin look like a Negro just now. They're trying to make him look like a nigga in the eyes of the public.
His stolen billions and alleged gangsterism.
Didn't we steal billions from Saddam Hussein?
Billions.
We stole all his gold. We stole millions of dollars.
You just mentioned Gaddafi. They killed Gaddafi because Gaddafi tried to start his own money.
Exactly.
Right. Backed by a commodity and not damn printing money out the thin air like our boys in the U.S. Treasury.
Yes. It's not a promissory note. It's real money.
Top screen. Yes. There we go. Dissolution of the Soviet Union. We're going to get some all praise tech team. So let's check this out. We don't have to spend a lot of time. I want to show you the reason why these countries that broke off from the Soviet Union, which was only about 30 years ago, right?
About 1991.
Right. So damn near 30 years ago. Can we there we go. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to just read, and then y'all check it out for your own. This has a lot to do with right shortly after NATO, in the 90s, they took other countries on. So let's read that.
The dissolution of the Soviet Union, 1988 to 1991, was the process of internal political, economic, and ethnic disintegration within the USSR as an unintended result of General Secretary Mikhail Gorbachev's effort of reform of the Soviet political and economic system in an attempt to end the era of stagnation, which resulted in the end of its existence as a sovereign state.
Sound like three letters to me. CIA.
You know, it's funny you should say that. That's exactly what probably happened too. That's exactly what happened.
That's why remember the reporter asked the lady at the White House about the destabilization?
Right.
Anytime destabilization,
yes.
dissension, political and economic problems, anytime those words are thrown around, 9 times out of 10, the people of the world are believing that the U.S. is behind it because that's their game plan.
That is.
That's their game plan. I'm going to destabilize you. I'm going to make you have internal conflict because I'm going to go to one of your high officials and say, hey, you want to make $50 million? I got look.
Remember, they used to send.
Of course, they're gonna take it.
There's a video they said about they used to send the jackal in.
Yep.
And the jackal would. Some of these third-rate countries would say, "Listen, they would offer you money here. You can go the easy way, or they come back in 2-3 months and then you'd be dead. They blow you up, poison you."
The dude at the economic hitman, he said he would word it in a way it was like what he's basically saying is I have a gun right here, but I have a suitcase full of money right here, and you can pick. Now, he said it in a way that wasn't like that. It was like, hey, your infrastructure needs help. Your banking system needs a little push. We can give you that push. Or you can try your hand on your own.
Let's read on real quick. And I want y'all to check this out on your own about the U.S. I just want to see what it broke down to, because out of the Soviet Union, Russia remained a very large part by itself in its own country. But let's see the what land masses dissolved and what were they labeled as, if we could find that.
Oh, that right there?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Because they got Russian, the Ukraine, Belarusian.
If we scroll down.
Because, wait, let me see. The USSR to CIS was Russia, Belarus, and the Ukraine. Participants, nation of the Soviet Union.
Let's see the outcome. Here we go. If you scroll down, it says outcome, dissolution of the Soviet Union. There we go. Okay. Should say
dissolution of the Soviet Union into 15 independent republics and establishment of the Commonwealth of Independent States. Huh. What's that? Click that.
that
Commonwealth of Independent States.
Oh, something you just did. It had numbers.
That's the CIS that you were talking about earlier.
I want to, if we can see, because
I
there
think the
was
one you
no
want
such
is that
things
other
as
link.
certain countries prior to. I believe the country we talk about right now was part of the Ukraine. I'm pretty sure it was part of certain areas were part of, and it should say that. Oh, Lord.
Hey, scroll back down a little bit. The other way.
What, the 15 independent republics?
Yeah, go to 15 independent republics. Click on that link.
Down. Right there.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
There we go.
Okay, yes. So now we know that Russia that's clearly the largest. That is the largest landmass that was now a separate country known as Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
all of that was once the USSR. So
right.
that became Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Estonia, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Latvia, Lithuania, Moldova, Russia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Ukraine, and Uzbekistan.
So now the two things we want to focus on is the Ukraine and Kazakhstan, which is number 6 is, I believe, Kazakhstan. And now the Ukraine is, I believe, 14? Yes, very good. So now when we look at the geographic, if I was a military leader and I wanted to control and be able to make Russia move, that's exactly who I would try to tell. I would try to go for, and number 3, what's number 3? Belarus. I would go to Belarus.
I mean, Kazakhstan is the biggest chunk out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you control that, you've taken not only the economic side, because remember what Kazakhstan has. They are one of the biggest exporters of those precious metals that are needed for technology. And they have giant oil and gas deposits that they export as well. So economically, they straight. They got the money.
Right.
Politically, they need the United States.
And when you look at the top next to 3 and 14, you have Poland and Romania, which are around that area, which are part of NATO. So they were creeping in, and they can set up shop and bases. Then, like Officer Mikael pointed out, the Bering Strait, we have military bases in Alaska. We have Army bases in Alaska, Air Force personnel, runways. They have all that up there to shoot right over on Russia's eastern border. So this is some heavy stuff. I just wanted us to see that the Soviet Union dissolved during that time, broke up into 15 different republics. Russia, being physically significantly larger than everybody else, still the power out of that land. And the U.S. is trying to send in sneakily, that great whore that she is, and under the skies of NATO and the EU to do what? To control that region. And Putin is not having it. And we're going to see, this is how World War III is going to come out of. Because what we're going to get into that in a minute. NATO is not all going to agree. There's going to be a division with NATO, and they're going to turn on the United States. And then, Lord's will, like Mikael said, we're going to go home. Y'all brothers, there was some other things that y'all had. Please bring it forth as you see fit.
Go to Article 14. Go to Article 14. Because just like you just said, Cap, the NATO/Russian conflict, trust me, that's not going to go down easy. That's not
at all.
That's not going to go down easy. This thing is about to get very, very hectic. All right? Let me know when y'all got Article 14 ready. So, it says, as Biden predicts Russia will invade, U.S. rushes weapons into Ukraine with some, but not all, NATO allies. So the U.S. is already placing people there.
Yes.
And guess what? This is the trip part. Now they put this in a article
Uh-huh.
that, you know, they're going to send troops over there. They already got people over there.
Already.
Everywhere that they sending troops to, they own that land already. That land is already in their pocket. That country is already in their pocket. They already got that stuff set up. All they have to do is move on it. That's all they have to do. Go back to the article. All right. It was chilly in Geneva on Thursday morning, and there was no reason to think the talks between the top diplomats from U.S. and Russia the following day would be any warmer. Tension between the two global powers continued to rise, with President Biden saying on Wednesday that it was his guess Russian President Vladimir Putin would use the roughly 100,000 forces he has amassed along the border to move in to Ukraine. You know what that sound like? You know what that sound like? Probable cause.
Uh-huh.
That's what that sound like. Sir, could you step out of the vehicle? You look like you might have something on you. That's
what
the
they do.
American way. Go back to it. He has to do something, Mr. Biden said during a White House news conference, warning that if Putin did decide to invade his neighbor, Russia would suffer consequential loss of life.
Whoa.
The president didn't elaborate on the level of military assistance the U.S. might offer Ukraine in the face of an invasion, but it came as his administration worked with NATO allies to bolster Ukraine's forces, and quickly. So basically what Biden is saying is Russia got to do something. They have to, because we're showing that we're about to take over the Ukraine. That's what they're saying. We're going to take the Ukraine. And they have to do something about it.
We talking to black people, so what Joe Biden said to Putin is "knuck if you buck." That's what they just said. "Knuck if you buck." We here, we in the Ukraine. What y'all gonna do? Y'all got to do something.
Hey, let's go right to RT News video number 2, Tech Team number 2, because this has been going on for a decade, over a decade. And now this is, they call it Putin's last stand. Because just like you said, knuck if you buck. We right here in your backyard. What the hell is you going to do about it?
Yep.
And Putin's like, you know what? Putin's not no chump. Putin is not going to be deboed. He is like, look, this is BS. Remember what a dude with the Ford Escort pulled? He got deboed, but Craig didn't get deboed.
Hey, Cap.
Craig was short.
Hey, Cap.
Like Asa. Craig still fought him.
Hey, Cap, the U.S. over
Right.
there like, hey, Russia, what you got on my petroleum, homie? What you got on my gas, homie?
Right. hey, listen, the U.S. is that whore that sit on many waters. Let's get, I believe it's a video, if I'm not mistaken, short video.
Yep.
If can we go the article first, or the segment where there's wording? Let's do that, and then we're going to go to the short videos, because this goes back to 2008, where NATO made a decision to admit the Ukraine and Georgia. However, it's a process. It's a process that, can you hear me? There's a process behind that. Okay.
NATO made decision to admit Ukraine and Georgia in 2008. Russian FM says red line passed over Kiev membership push. Russia's top diplomat Sergei Lavrov has been reacting to Ukraine's push to join NATO, with Chief Jens Stoltenberg apparently on a crusade to rile up Kremlin, declaring the military alliance decided to admit Ukraine and Georgia almost 15 years ago.
So that 15 years ago from 2022 is about 2008. Let's just keep that in mind. So this NATO thing has been strategically planned, and now you're seeing the culmination of that prior planning by the great whore, a.k.a. NATO, a.k.a. the EU, backed by the United Snakes of America. Read on.
Russia's patience with the actions of the West has come to an end.
So basically, all right, you took Poland. We watch it. You took Poland's now part. Romania. Okay, now you're right on my border. Now we got a problem, and this is why that's why they sent troops to Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan, that's right. That's a lot of their border. They sent troops to Kazakhstan. The U.S. failed in that attempt, but the Ukraine, they had been working on them for a long time. Open up the diplomacy to NATO has what they call an open door policy. That's what they call it. Read on.
Russia's patience with the actions of the West has come to an end, according to Lavrov, as he expects written responses from the U.S. and NATO over security guarantees.
So he was like, we want a ironclad guarantee that you will not push eastward anymore. That's what they want. Putin wants that right now. Y'all go Google it right now. Putin's like, listen, no more. NATO is not going to be joined by the Ukraine and any of these countries that were former Soviet Union, because why? Once that happens, he already knows that they are now part of the United States. Why? Because they're part of NATO. If you touch them according to Article 5, any military assault on the country is an assault on that NATO organization. Who runs the whole show and calls the shots? It damn sure ain't Poland, and it damn sure ain't no damn France. It is the United States of America. Period.
Hey, Cap, this next one is a doozy. It is inadmissible when they require us to send our troops stationed in our territory back to their barracks, while Americans, Canadians, British are almost permanently deployed.
Damn.
So basically, he's like, I can't accept that. They trying to tell us to send our troops back home,
right?
But yet their troops are constantly in that land, constantly in our backyard.
And Canada and the United States is clear halfway across the world.
Yep.
And it's like going back to, if you imagine that the United States, let's say Russia decided that they had relations, the countries that are right below Mexico are, you got Panama, you have, help me out, some Central American countries, Nicaragua, Belize, El Salvador.
Yeah, Venezuela.
Imagine if they started to set up shop around there. And you expect the United States and Mexico, for that matter, to not take alarm and to send troops up? They're supposed to do that.
Hey, Cap, can we get article number 6?
Please do. Let's get it.
Article number 6 is talking about that same thing.
Hey, the EU, some of the partners like, hey, man, I thought you had gas and oil. I do. But I won't spend Russia's oil. Bro, the U.S. is the mob, bro. They are the mob. They are the mob. They are the mafia. That's why they call it the American mafia, because they're proud of what they do. They're proud of the moves that they make. They strong arm everybody in the world. That's why when people start talking like, the U.S. is such a great country, it's the land of opportunity. If you play by their game, right. It is.
Hey, I know Chris Rock made it a joke in that movie, The Head of State. Remember when they were saying, God bless America and no one else? They really think that.
Yep.
They really think that. Go ahead, pull that article up.
U.S. pledges decisive response if Russia deploys military in Cuba or Venezuela over Ukraine crisis.
So exactly what you were saying, Cap. How would the United States feel, or how would the United States react if Russia was in the backyard? They said decisive response. Put the article back up.
Meaning that is going to be a regrettable decision for them. Russia won't rule out sending military to the Americas if the U.S. keeps aiding Ukraine. Washington is warning Moscow not to act on this bluster.
Wow.
Boy, don't be stupid.
Russia on Thursday threatened to deploy its military in Cuba and Venezuela in response to the Ukraine crisis. Even if that's empty rhetoric, it touches a nerve in this hemisphere, especially in Miami. And the U.S. has said it will respond decisively if Moscow acts on this bluster.
Why especially in Miami? Because Miami is 90 miles away from Cuba.
That's right.
Too close for comfort, huh? Kind of feel like how Putin feel with you being in Ukraine.
Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov said he couldn't rule out his country sending troops or weapons to Cuba and Venezuela if the U.S. and NATO continue their military assistance to Ukraine. You want me to keep going?
That's heavy. You should touch on that. Listen to what he's saying. It says Russian president, I'm sorry, where were we just at? Russian deputy foreign minister. Now, a foreign minister is someone who represents for foreign relations.
Yep.
A foreign minister speaks on like an ambassador for his country, right? He's an extension for the voice of Russia to these other foreign countries.
He comes in the name of Vladimir Putin.
Right, exactly. So just like our Secretary of State would come in the name of Sleepy Joe, Joe Biden. He said that he couldn't rule out, meaning in the war room, they're like, okay, they want to do that, then we have this, we'll enact this. And they have a thing called the KGB. Do you think that they're going to send the Russian in their full BTU fatigue with the Russian flag on their damn? No. They've already been there, and they've already been living amongst them, and have already set up shop there. Okay, just like the sleeper cells from these Middle Eastern countries, they're already here. So for Russia to make that statement, they have to have a foothold there. And so the Lord is a mastermind.
Hey, Cap.
You got to just read between the lines. Real quick, I'm sorry. It says, but insist, couldn't rule out his country sending troops or weapons to Cuba and Venezuela if the U.S. and NATO continue their military assistance to the Ukraine. What they're saying is, okay, you got some power, but we can make a move too. Russia's letting the world know that we're not going to take this sitting down. And guess what? The Lord has to use these two sides to start World War III. That's what's going to happen. Y'all check Bishop's class. Bishop Nathaniel's taught classes on World War III. Go back and revisit these. Captain Shemaiah taught 15 minutes with the cap. Go back and watch these World War III classes. We're in that time with the rumors of war. This is beginning right now. You might see, you might see it in the next 50, 60 years. We might see it in our lifetime or parts thereof of the beginning of it.
Cap, who came to the aid of Afghanistan when the U.S. pulled out?
Oh.
Who came to their aid? It was Russia and China. The U.S. has said that they have 190,000 unvetted Afghanis in this country.
Denver.
The Russian military has been in Cuba since 2005 with warships. I'm going to say they've been in Cuba with warships since 2005.
Yeah, because I was about to say they never really left Cuba.
They've been there since the time of Kennedy.
Yeah, remember the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yes.
Some of your grandparents was young folks at the time, young adults, and the people that lived during that time of the early 60s, they really thought there was going to be World War III. People was worried for their lives. Matter of fact, JFK was getting ready to send like the destroyers out. And at the last minute, the Mossad dissuaded all that because he had to muster the battle for the latter days. We are in the latter days, but he had to wait a little bit longer. It was too soon. They needed more time to develop more superior nuclear weapons because that time was only about 16, 17 years after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Mossad said, no, I'm going to get a little bit more time. I'm going to invent a weapon. They got the Moab bomb, the Mother Moab bombs. These bombs that they've invented in the last 20, 30 years are more powerful than the one they would have used in the 60s. The Lord got a sense of savoring death.
Yeah, because
he loves that.
The scriptures say that the earth is going to shake.
That's right.
It's going to shake with all of the bombs that's going to hit this country. Like, you got to look at it like the caterpillars, they got to be here. Like, and the reason why it's good to go through a topic like this is because one of the things that have to happen is the 10 horns. Can we get that in Revelation 17? The 10 horns have to come together against the whore. They have to.
The book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues.
So the waters where the whore sits is all of her allies. Everywhere that she has a stronghold, everywhere she has a base, an embassy, an embassage, wherever she has power, that's where the waters are. Go ahead.
Verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore.
They shall what?
These shall hate the whore.
That's why Cap brought out earlier. There is dissension between the EU. There is dissension in NATO. Not everybody's agreeing with what's going on. But can they just outright stand up and say something about it? Look what happens when celebrities stand up and say something about stuff in this country. Imagine being in the military complex part of it. They'll probably knock you off in the meeting room and then replace you right there. Read.
These shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire.
They got to hate her. They got to attack her. They got to burn her with fire. They have to. Look at where all of the EU is. They're in Europe. NATO is the United States of America, Canada, and Greenland. All of this part over here, that's NATO. The EU is over there.
Hey, real quick, this just came up, just to put Officer Matthews' point we bring about Revelation. There is, it's public knowledge that there is Biden, if I'm going to send a link. This is a New York Times article from 12 hours ago, so to recent. And the name of the article reads, Biden urges NATO to stay on the same page. Because what you're going to find is some of these countries in Europe are not fully on board. But like Officer Matthew brought out, who are you to challenge the person that runs NATO? It's like in a gang, you know the gang leader's doing something wrong, but you know it's in 3 or 4, you know what? You're going off. You know, if we don't do something about it, he's going to get us all killed. So it's the New York Times. It's a video. We're going to watch the video real quick. And we got to get ready to close out. I'm sending it to you now. I know it's tech team. It's last second, but it is New York Times. I hope we don't have the permission to watch this doggone thing. It's coming at you right now, tech team. Where's the doggone piece? Here it is right there. It is video. Biden urges NATO to stay on the same page in response to Russia. Why would Biden, the leader of the free, would have to encourage NATO? I thought they was already on the same page. I thought they was one and the same. No, they're not. And you know why we know they're not? Because we just read a scripture that proves they're going to be divided. And they're going to turn on the great whore. That's prophetic. All right? Let's go ahead and we can play that. Hopefully it's not. So let's read that, Officer Matt, again. You brought up Revelation 17. But I want to read verse 17 and 18.
Verse 17. For God had put it in their hearts to fulfill his will.
So even if they try to stay united in NATO, God is going to put it in the hearts of these countries to turn. Just like he put it in the heart of Pharaoh to harden his heart, he's going to put it in the heart of these countries to do what? Ultimately break, and they're going to go against the great whore. Right now, it might seem like it's impossible. Read on.
And to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast.
Come on.
Until the words of God shall be fulfilled.
So it's going to take a while, but the words of the Lord are going to be revealed. Why? Because the great whore in verse 1 has to be judged. Read on.
And the woman which thou sawest is that great city.
Which is Babylon the Great. Read on.
which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
And that's the point I wanted. NATO, you can't go against the United States even if you're in NATO, because that's the king that reigns over all the other kings of the earth. It's very important we understand. Now we're going to show you a little bit of, we're going to close out the show after this. Is there potential division within NATO? Well, Joe Biden's coming along to try to rally NATO and let's make sure we're on the same page. Don't let them sway you. Hopefully it's not too long of a video. Beautiful, Officer Thomas. Yes, sir.
Not going to be united, I don't buy. I've spoken to every major NATO leader. We've had the NATO-Russian summit. We've had the OSCE has met, et cetera. And so I think what you're going to see is that Russia will be held accountable if it invades. And it depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion and then we end up having a fight about what to do and not do, et cetera.
Stop right there. Who is going to be the ones that has to decide on what to do and not to do? The people in NATO. They have to decide how far and what they're going to do to Russia. Play it again from the beginning. We might have missed that. He's showing you with his words there's dissension, or let me say, there's not 100% of the same mind and one accord within NATO. He's telling you right here.
Also, who's to say what a minor incursion or major incursion is?
Right.
Who's gonna blend that? Who's gonna blur that line? Like, oh, it was minor. You don't have to do anything. Or no, this was major. We have to do something about it. Who's going to judge that?
Play that again. Let's listen to his words.
Let's see
if NATO is 100% united. Listen to his words.
NATO is not going to be united, I don't buy. I've spoken to every major NATO leader. We've had the NATO-Russian summit. We've had the OSCE has met, et cetera. And so I think what you're going to see is that Russia will be held accountable if it invades. And it depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion and then we end up having a fight about what to do and not do, et cetera.
Stop.
But
when he said it's one thing if they invade or something minor, and then we have to fight about what we're going to do. We have to talk about what we're going to do. Who is that? The United States has the agenda. They have to keep all their ducks in line. That's why he said, I met with every single major NATO. What was he doing? You know who runs the show here, right? You understand. So when you rule like that's what they're doing, there's going to be division. And it has to be division if the prophecy will come true. And that's something that we just got to wait and be patient for. Let it play out, and we're going to close the show up there. I think it's already, wow.
If they actually do what they're capable of doing with the force amassed on the border, it is going to be a disaster for Russia if they further invade Ukraine, and that our allies and partners are ready to impose severe cost. But it's very important that that we keep everyone in NATO on the same page.
Stop. That's it. All right there. It's very important that we keep everyone on NATO on the same page. Why? Because they're not all on the same page. If you was on the same page, you don't have to first start talking about the division and how you would handle things. And also, we have to keep everybody on the same page because there is not all the same mind in NATO. And that's what's going to happen. And look, as the weeks go to come, the next week, 2 weeks, next day, you're going to see more of this unfold. So y'all watch what's going on. We live in right now. Tomorrow, there could be a major news story the next day. So next week, we're going to come back, y'all, and we're going to give you updates on what's going on in the Ukraine. We understand the backdrop. We understand how we got here. We understand who's behind it all, the United States and their agenda. Why? Because they're Babylon the Great. They're that great whore that Revelation 17 spoke about. So tonight's show was a lot of geography, a little bit of historical context about the Soviet Union dissolution. What do you say? I'm tired as hell. The breaking down the Soviet Union and how NATO and the alliance of NATO and between the EU and how they all work together with the agenda of the United States of America. we got to understand that this is all of God. So we got to keep our minds right in these last days. So with that, look, we get ready to close out. I know it's late, y'all. Thank you for hanging with us on Thursday night. Precept upon precept, we're going to roll out 2 hour Officer Mikael.
Hey, look, y'all, give alms. Give alms to your local schools. You can do so either if you have a school, drop it in the alms box. You can drop it via PayPal. If you want to give alms to Precept upon Precept, you can give alms at IUIC.NewOrleans at IsraelUnite.org. Also, give to the Booster Club so we can continue to push this truth throughout the 4 corners of the earth. You can do so at IUIC.fundraising at IsraelUnite.org via PayPal. Also, make sure y'all go to that email. Send an email to that email address if you want to be a part of the Booster Club.
Israel United in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a nonviolent Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1.
Hey, shalom, shalom. Hey, thank you for joining us again on Precept upon Precept. We appreciate you. Listen, if you can, go to IUIC New Orleans. Subscribe, hit the bell notification. Okay, like our videos, share our videos. We're trying to push this truth in New Orleans. And look, if you have ideas on or topics for the show, hey, let us know in the comments. We absolutely want to increase our fan base. We want to increase the number of listeners and edify our people. So let us know what you think in the comments, how we can improve the show and what direction we can take it. So all praise to the Most High. We are your hosts. I'm Captain Sherman. To the left,
Officer Matthew.
Officer Mikael.
All right, Israel. And with that, we say
Shalom.
Shalom.
You listening to Precept on Precept. Captain Shem break it down to no meat left. Line upon line in the word, make you respect. History collegiate when we teach it, brains reset. You listening to Precept on Precept. Captain Shem break it down to no meat left. Line upon line, the word make you respect. History collegiate when we teach it, brains reset. Putting in the work for the Most High. Valley of the bones coming back and we gon' ride. Showing you our past didn't start with that boat ride. We a nation made of kings, yeah, we chose right. Bringing our identity back. We the praise of the Lord, they pretend to be that. Shooting is something special, they can never be that. We raise a vengeance with the knowledge so our enemies crack. In fact, listen to the class and the topic. Bomb subject matter,